thinking more about the wedding throughout the years, that I want it in a certain way, I want this, I want that. And so generally that person is trying to take the control. But also one very big thing that we have to still understand in our society is, it is not only the bride and the groom who are making all the decisions or calling the shots. The parents actually hold a very big role in what decisions are taken, specifically financially.
Mm-hmm.
So uh, that is also one thing that the couples have to take into consideration, that what both of them are allowed to say or allowed to do. Because in general, till today, the marriages, especially the big budget marriages, the finances is not by the couple, but it is mostly by the parents who are taking care of it. But and frankly speaking, there are very few couples I feel who come together, are at the same level, taking the same calls. I think that is super rare. That is super rare. That is not the thing. Somebody has more ideas, and the other one is, if it's more of a love marriage, then the other one is more okay with whatever is good and is not creating any havoc. But if it's an arranged marriage again, then I have seen that the girls, the women, have very little to say, very little to even choose the designs or even choose their entry and things like that. Very personalized things also, they don't choose. Probably it's not even the groom or the in-laws choosing, it is us choosing it for them, because we have been given a certain budget and a thing, and that's how it has to be done. So all these factors, that whether it's a love marriage, an arranged marriage, how involving the in-laws, or how involving the parents are, so all of these factors come into play for these things.
Wow, I think that is also something very, very important we see in couple therapy. Suti, you will, I'm sure, resonate with me that financial aspects and how much the in-laws are involved, whether we can set good boundaries with them or not, determines to a great extent how safe we are feeling in the marriage. Do we think whatever we talk in our personal space, is that going out? Do I have enough say if it's a family business and my father-in-law or mother-in-law still takes the call? These dynamics to a great extent comes down at a level of emotional safety, and it's not something that we can't just deny.
Yes, like a
Exactly.
very small example that just happened with me yesterday in a meeting, that the budget was closed, it was logged, and the discussions were happening. So the groom said, I wanted this artist, I want a band and everything. So immediately the other side said, if the budget is locked, now whatever you can do from your own pocket, then go ahead with it. So it is not really that what just the couples are feeling or what they want, or if they are on the same page. I really feel that it is more about the parents at this nascent stage. uh, there the couples bonding, I feel, comes more into play in the later stages, when I see it more when the wedding rituals have started, when
Mm-hmm.
the first haldi ceremony takes place, and from there, that is where the dynamics is more to be seen and comes more in the play rather than the decision makings.
Right, right. Stuti, any thoughts before we move on to the next session, next slide?
Yes, of course. So, because we live in a country where arranged marriages are more or less still the norm, and also even in love marriages, the women have to go to the groom's house and start their lives there, right? So, when I'm talking about safety, and when I'm talking about that vulnerability, and when we're talking about the play of in-laws and all the family members, that is also a time where women actually want to feel the safety, and they want to know that, no matter what, their grooms, their husbands, their partners will be there to shield them or to make take a stand for them. So there they can, they can have that kind of what do we say, that they can actually express themselves to their partners when they know that, okay, no matter whoever is in the house, no matter who all are the family members, but this person is going to take my stand, right? So that, again, if I'm talking just about from the Indian perspective, is a very big part of emotional safety, when you can rely on your partner to take your stand, to be
Yeah.
there.
Absolutely. That
I
is
am
where
nobody,
the role of the partner becomes very, very crucial.
Exactly, yes.
like I am nobody to judge, but if you ask me, the most of the couples that I see, I would say that 80 to 85% they are not emotionally secured while they are getting into the relationship. I think it is something that they will have to find later. They will have to understand how to find it, how to achieve it. But they are definitely not in an emotional safe space
Mhm.
of from what I can see.
Right, of
Okay.
course. Yes.
So with that laying the context of whole logistics and then coming down to the emotional safety security bit, we move on to poll number 1 to understand what is it that most of us feel in terms of communication or emotional safety when it comes to couples before or during marriage, after they have started their new life. Can we take the poll live? Yes. So the first question that we have here is, when you share a problem with your partner, what response do you usually receive? Advice or solutions immediately, listening for a short time and then giving suggestions, emotional support and understanding, usually avoid sharing my problems. So let's see what is this cohort doing and getting as a response from their partners. Can we take a look at the result? I think the result is not visible yet.
Mm.
I think if you end the poll, you will be getting the result.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
So we have the first question coming up, which is 33% of the time advice or solutions immediately, which is the core problem that we thought that this should be addressed. 50% said that listening for a short time and then give suggestions. I think that's what happens most of the time. People who love us, care for us, would listen to us for a short period of time, but also from a place of protection, they would jump into the solution giving process, that okay, do this, do that, right? So that happens to all of us, is even trained professionals. Sometimes, even though we are trained to listen, we would sometimes just hand over a few direct guidelines. That's where this problem starts. Okay, I think we have the two and the third polls being answered already. I think since the results are here, let's just take it up. What do you usually need most when you are upset? Someone to listen, practical solutions, reassurance and comfort, and some time alone. Interesting is 25% we have a response everywhere. So some of us are really thinking that need time to listen. Someone should listen to us. That will help. Practical solutions. I don't have a lot of time. Just tell me what to do. That also works for some people. Reassurance and comfort. I think me individually, that works a lot for me. And time alone. We also need a lot of people who would love to take a break and take time alone and deal with the emotional aspect, right? And the next one, have you ever felt that your partner is trying to fix your problems instead of understanding them? Even though few people have responded to this, 100% response rate has come up. Uh, that is a problem that we are all talking about and is the foundation of today's discussion. So yes, a lot of times do feel like not just partners, maybe sometimes even friends and parents, colleagues, bosses, everyone sometimes jump into solving the problem because they think that that is more helpful. But sometimes a lot of us are only looking to be heard first and looking to be validated first, and that really helps both of the parties to together discuss and arrive at the solution, right? So great to interact with all of you, whoever have responded, and we look forward to discussing further and you taking more insights to all of these inputs. So now let's look at some aspects of what makes couples feel more safe and secure in their relationship. These are two terms, love and attachment, I think very commonly used. A lot of people are talking about attachment styles these days on social media as well. A lot of people, non-psychology background, would come and start talking to you about even the types of attachments out there. So that's how much we are already aware of these terminologies. But to what extent that is important to be understood, how we execute, how we become aware, is something to learn from the experts. So, Stuti, why don't you take us through that?
Okay, all right. So, like you already mentioned, that attachment styles, love and attachment, these are very common terms now. And I think everybody knows about that. But back in 1950s, John Bowlby was the first psychoanalyst to give us these terms. Basically, he started off by saying ki these are only for the child and the caretaker. But later on, we all learned that no, this is not just for childhood. Attachment grows into your relationships as well, as a couple and in marriages as well. So basically, if I talk about attachment basically has four types that you can already see on the screen. So one is secure, one is anxious, one is avoidant, and one is fearful, right? So when I'm talking about a secure attachment, right? So that is when a person feels who has a very good positive view about self and the other person in a marriage, if I'm talking about it, right? So when I'm saying secure attachment, I'm not saying that these people don't have problems or these people don't have to deal with anything at all. No. When I'm talking about secure attachment, it means that the attachment between the partners is strong enough between both the partners that they know that whatever may come, they will deal with it. They will communicate well. They know how to respond to each other. They know how to communicate to each other, how to know about the boundaries of each partner, right? How to see them as, a trusting partner. If I'm talking about both the partners, right? So they actually understand that there is a lot of trust and openness in this relationship, right? So even if they have problems, even if they have obstacles in their relationship, it's not like they don't have any, but it's easier for them to come out of those because they understand each other and they know how to communicate well and how to be independent and interdependent on each other. So there, that is where boundaries and your relationship, they are in a controlled form. So these people, they know that I'm independent as well, but in a marriage, I have my partner. I have to walk in life with my partner, right? So this is where secure attachment and secure style of attachment basically plays a role in a marriage or in a long-term relationship. Okay, so if I'm talking about anxious person, so like the name suggests, they always have the insecure or a negative view about themselves, not the partner, but about themselves. They always feel, what, I don't want to screw things up. I'm not good enough for my partner. What if I express this and what if my partner leaves? Or what if, how will my partner react? So there is a fear in these people who have anxious attachment style of that we usually say in therapy, the what ifs, right? So they have a lot of what ifs, right? So it's not easy for them to open up to their partners because there is a lot of fear involved about the consequence of opening up. What if my partner leaves me, right? So if they have a secure person, a secure attachment style person, so they can it's easier for them to handle sometimes. But if they have a person who's anxious themselves, so the communication would be a lot, there would be a lot of gaps in communication, because they will not be able to understand. There will always be fear. What if that, what if this, right? So this is where anxious partners more or less can go well with secure partners. But if they do end up with somebody who's anxious themselves, so that is where both of them are always in a fear of losing this relationship,
Losing
losing
this
out of
relation, and the
marriage.
emotional energy is also quite high in every communication. So more than moving towards a solution, it may escalate, right?
Yes, right.
Ms. Devasmita, when you sit down with couples, it can get started from a very simple thing that they are discussing. But people being from different personality or having different personality traits or attachment styles, like how Stuti was mentioning, you might also see how certain small things may escalate to big fights, even to sometimes taking the decision of moving away from the alliance, right? So, any such experience or observations on your side?
uh See, basically, they generally couples kind of find a midway when such disagreements happen. More when it is, see, basically, because when people are talking to us, they do not try and show their all their true colors, and they do not open all their emotional aspects to us. So they are trying to, we can see a lot of people trying to control their anger, or some trying to negotiate within themselves, keep fine, okay, let it be, I will not escalate this further, and I will compromise. So most of the cases that we see is generally of either of the one. uh, Actually, with the dynamics changing, I wouldn't say that it is only the women compromising or anything of sorts. We have seen that even the men are compromising or the women are compromising. So but it is generally more that somebody is succumbing to the other partner, and coming to a middle ground where things can be worked out. Fortunately, I haven't seen a wedding in my career which escalated to the dissolution of the wedding altogether. But disagreements, definitely, there are a lot of disagreements. But I have also seen that the younger generation is actually taking taking that stand of how they can actually work upon it, how they can come to a solution, and how they can make better out of the situation and not worsen it.
And do you think an awareness of individual communication styles, emotional style, attachment styles, like how Stuti was mentioning, if we are more aware, then we would also be able to find these middle grounds better, right?
Absolutely, and especially small towns need more of this awareness. They need all this information before the marriage. The problem what happens here is that all of this starts happening after the marriage has happened, then the problems have started, and then people start reading through these and looking up for it. I really feel that if all these information and everything is given somehow before they decide to get married, it will
Absolutely.
be much more useful.
I think the real talks are often not happening behind all of these management and planning and color and themes and costumes. The actual discussions about emotional patterns, values, what is it that we want to do together, grow together, is not happening. And like you mentioned, the awareness part, maybe metro still yes, but in the tier 2, tier 3 cities, emotional coaching, intimacy coaching, any of these things, I think, are not talked about to a great extent. I think experts like Stuti, who is also practicing with us, makes a huge difference over there. That when individual reaches out to a platform like this, and experts who hold enough experience in making the difference happen, I think we can generate that awareness and bridge these gaps. And like you mentioned, if the real talks of these things happen before the alliance is fixed already, it can be very helpful.
And the fact is that earlier there was no acceptance of these kind of discussions, but today I can see the shift, and I can tell you that there is an acceptance, but now there is a lack of these informations coming at the right time.
Absolutely. And I think Positivity and other platforms like Positivity are working hard towards building this gap between such a service and clients finding the right fit. I would request Indira to drop the link for finding Stuti and other practitioners who specialize in couple therapy, so that our participants can find them easily if they have any doubts or they need support after this. Okay. Stuti, why don't you continue?
All right, thank you. So we were discussing about attachment styles, right? So we have two more that I will just briefly introduce you to. So in the red color that you can see on the screen, we have the avoidant attachment style, or the one that we call the withdrawer. So what these people usually have is that they have that kind of negative view about other people, positive about themselves, but negative about other people. So they're very big walls when you're trying to communicate. So they have their shields up, like we say, when you're trying to communicate. So you may not get a lot of response from them. You may not get a lot of emotional support from them. You may not get a lot of, what do we say? Intimacy, yes, emotional and communicative intimacy from them, because their shields are up. They keep their partners at a distance, right? So again, all these, if one of them has a secure attachment style, they would do a lot more to the relationship. They contribute a lot more, because like with, if you're dealing with somebody who has an avoidant attachment style, right? So communication can get a little bit harder. So you have to figure out ways to communicate, different ways to get through those walls, to get those shields down, and actually make them understand your language, your side as well, right? And the last insecure attachment style that we have here is the fearful or the disorganized.
Yeah.
So this is, I would just summarize it in the hot and cold behavior. Sometimes you get affection, but they can withdraw at any time. So so it's like hot and cold means that sometimes you would get a lot of affection, but sometimes you would get like no affection at all. Sometimes you can communicate and they would be all ears, but sometimes they're not. So there is always distance, yet, yes, but they bring their partners closer, and sometimes they, distance themselves from their partners again, because they always have this insecure view about themselves and the partner. So the full trust that we need for emotional safety, for that vulnerability, is missing from this attachment style. Again, all the three, if they're partnered with somebody who's secure enough, who has a secure attachment style, communication gets better, the flow of the relationship gets better, the intimacy of course gets better. And if two secure people, they come together, of course there is a lot of positive communication. There is so much emotional safety in a relationship. But then again, we know how to deal with these attachment styles, how to identify them, and we can help you identify and work through whatever your attachment style is. We are not asking you to be secure always. We're not asking that people have to be perfect always, right?
We are not trying to box you in any of these boxes that we can see here, but more awareness and more understanding of any of these types showing up in our journey and in our patterns. If we work with an expert or learn more, understand more, read more, we can navigate through them very well.
Absolutely.
I think one of the biggest part of couple therapy is working through our own attachment styles and dealing with the insecurities. Once we can overcome that step, it's a huge win that comes along.
Right, absolutely. And we can work through these attachment styles. That is for sure.
Right. Okay. That brings us to the segment of why emotional safety matters for women. I mean, I think we were discussing just now that with the new generation coming in, partners are quite aware of the equal responsibilities. They're talking about equal rights, and all of these things are happening, yes. But to a great extent, the sociological and stereotypical expectations from women still remain to a great extent to be much more quieter, coy, compromising, or even taking multiple roles, absorbing a lot of emotions, that no matter what, women are supposed to be understanding, be it at work, be it at home. Understanding label is something that they're expected to be. And to what extent that kind of emotional absorption for a really long time is healthy? Does it take a toll on their mental health? How does it come up? And if partners are listening, how can they help? This is something that I would like to listen to, Stuti, if you can help us.
Right. So, because we're focusing on women here today in the seminar, so I would like to discuss why emotional safety is important for specifically women, right now.
Right.
Yes. Again, highlighting that always important for men as well. But with respect to this month, with respect to the seminar, for my focuses and all of our focuses on women today. Okay. All right. So we usually say that women are more emotionally sensitive because, like I already told you, that their first response to any situation is marked by emotions, right? So
Yeah.
when women get that emotional safety, it helps them express their emotions well. It helps them get in touch with their emotions, right? So when they get that safe space to express, so it helps them. It basically validates their emotional experience. It helps them reassure that their experience matters the most, right? This is one of the reasons why emotional safety for women is important here, right? And if we talk
Mm-hmm.
about the relationship in general, we already see a lot of women coming into therapy saying that trusting somebody in a relationship is very important for
Very
them to
hard.
open up,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? So basically, if women want to open up in a relationship, they want to know, they always want that kind of reassurance that they're in a safe space. They are in a zone where they can actually trust their partner, right? So definitely, like we always see in movies that two attractive people coming in together and forming a relationship. But let
Mm-hmm.
me tell you, looks fade away, and for women, that strength and that the kind of what do I say? For the kind of positive impact. Partnership comes from basically trust, right? So they
Yeah.
want trust in a relationship more than they want the looks in the relationship, right?
Right. Right.
So, and third, if you're talking about intimacy, so there are so many forms of intimacy: emotional
Mm-hmm.
intimacy, physical intimacy, then you have that kind of romance that we talk about, right? So, everything for women deepens when they know that they're secure, when they know that they can be who they are. Many women, they deal with body positivity issues. They don't actually have that kind of confidence, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, if you're talking about physical intimacy, so when you have that kind of emotional safety in relationships where you know that your partner is not judging you, your partner is not rejecting you, it helps
Mm-hmm.
women open up more in towards physical intimacy as well.
Yeah.
So that is why women take a little bit longer to indulge into any kind of romantic actions or physical intimacy. They want to know who they are.
Are they opening up to?
Yes, exactly. And next we come is emotional expression. So women are always the happiest, and when they are able to express themselves. Us women, we want to talk a lot. We want
Yeah.
to talk to our girlfriends. We want to talk to our partners, right? So we want to express ourselves everywhere. And relationships is one thing. Our partners become our safety nets. Our
Mm-hmm.
partners become our first person we reach out to when we have a good news, when we have bad news. We just want our partners to know. So women are better off expressing. So emotional safety is equal to happier expression
Happier
and freedom of
expressions of
expression.
communication. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. And vulnerability without fear means that if women have some kind of insecurities, if they are dealing with certain struggles, so they can bring that out in a relationship. They can talk about that in a relationship without the fear of being rejected, without the fear of being judged. That is
Hmm.
very important. Otherwise women close up very much, and if once women close up, they can have like very big walls around them. They can have like very big boundaries, and in the long term, that's not something that is healthy for both the partners, right? And emotional well-being, again, it has everything to do with the emotional expression. So the more women express, the better off they are, right? So when we're talking about emotional well-being, so they just women just want a space to be who they are.
Yeah, and it increases the feeling of being accepted, feeling of
Yes,
being loved. Especially why the role matters over here is women are leaving their safe space, which is their home. They're coming out absolutely into a new house,
mhm,
new set of rules, new set of different family members, understanding their needs. So not just taking time for their emotional acceptance, but also there is an expectation of responding to others' emotional
mm,
needs. They're
yes,
not just looking for love and affection to come
mm,
towards them. They're equally expected to provide them in abundance to everybody out there, right? So
exactly.
that is very important. If they're not emotionally doing well, it's
Mhm.
like that empty jar analogy. The empty jar cannot fill another glass. So if emotionally they are not feeling well, they are feeling vulnerable, unsafe, not heard, not accepted, they cannot give it back, and that paradox just continues.
Yes, exactly. So most of you have heard that on Instagram that women are not the first responders, but how much they receive, they give you back in relationships,
Yeah.
right? So that is what it is. How much efforts they receive, how much space they receive to be who they are, the more they can give out. Women are always giving by nature. Like, so
Mhm.
if we're talking about evolutionary perspective, women are the ones who are always giving by nature, means that they're the ones always sharing so much if we see ecologically, biologically, right? So
Mhm.
if you give them their space, if you give them their vulnerability, if you give them the chance to be who they are without any fear, they have a lot to give out to
If
every
you
relationship.
strengthen them, they will strengthen the household.
Yes,
As
exactly.
simple as that.
Exactly. Keep the women happy and your household is happy.
Yes.
Yes.
So, Debasmita, coming to you, in case of arranged marriage situations, you were mentioning that the communication patterns are a little different as compared to love marriage couples. So, I'm assuming there is a gap in terms of how well the couples are expressing already before the marriage. It is still at a formal level. Families are taking forward steps and doing all the discussions. Maybe they are taking a step back. How do you notice those differences, and are there any judgments still present in terms of women, how they should look like, how they'll be selected based on their appearance, body type, color? Are these things still present, are or being talked about, or women are still getting cautious about it? How are you noticing that?
Yes, yes. In terms of arranged marriage, I think that it is still very well applicable, and I think it is also nowadays people are looking at marriage at like what the if they are looking for a girl, it is more in par with what the boy is looking like. If the boy is fat, then they are okay with a fat girl. That's kind of a midway that the I think that's kind of an improvement that the society has still come upon that I have seen. And then there is a better equation that I really feel between the families, between the couple, rather than that if the disparity between the couple is a lot more, then you can also see the dominance very specifically with the person who is either better looking or at a better financial position or whatever it is. But you also see that dominance in the relationship from the very beginning, rather than if both are at par in every way, you feel that all of them are more at the same page.
Mhm. So if that kind of dominance is so apparent, it may contribute to the emotional unsafe feeling, emotionally feeling unsafe, and not feeling very heard. Like if I think that, okay, this person will anyway take an upper hand, or their family is already taking an upper hand, I might take a step back and not be very proactive to talk about what my emotional needs are, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And that is what is happening to the girls in all such cases, in all such marriages that happen. They do not express even their smallest of things, and then slightly from behind they will get my number from the parents somehow, and then they will message me that is it possible that I wanted some flowers for my hair, is it possible for you to get. So it is such a small thing, it
Such a
is
small thing, but that also is taking such a longer route.
such a longer route, and even that somewhere they are hesitant to put out, like what if now I go and tell this to the in-laws or ask for more
Yeah,
money, then what will happen? So such a small thing, but still they are so hesitant to put it out and want it as in how they want it. But obviously it is a lot different in case of love marriages, and in other cases where the dominance is not there. But where
yeah,
the dominance is there, these things are always there. And also I feel that the women also at that same time, what was mentioned before, she thinks that she is being judged by everybody around at that time, that
yeah.
whatever she
All
is,
eyes on me.
how she is saying exactly. So she feels so conscious about everything that she thinks that it's just best to shut up and just
Carry
agree
on.
to everything that's happening.
Yeah. So imagine if such a small thing like I need this for herself, maybe just a logistical thing that she needs to be sorted by you. Imagine the kind of requirement or courage it takes to even talk about the actual needs, like emotional needs or value-driven needs, that I want to do this, I want to grow like this, this is not my way of living, this is not something that I enjoy doing. Such big opinions and steps will take so much time to really come forward when the beginning is start happening from here. And I really hope that not like marriages, irrespective of how they are being set, the emotional safety or the needs of being heard is not something that should be compromised. And all of us who are listening and who are talking can actually become much more aware and commit to making such spaces for both the man and the woman, I feel.
The problem has also become like, see, earlier at least the women didn't even think that it was important for me to be heard or things like that. But nowadays the problem has increased, because now the women know that I need to be heard, I need to be happy, I need certain things a certain way.
Yeah,
They don't know how to put it
how
across.
to put it across.
So that
That's the frustration that is consistently building.
so that conflict has really increased in today's generation of women who are going into new families and going into new setups. So they are really at a loss of how to get these things sorted, or how to start this whole conversation about emotional security, how to even start this whole conversation, or how to make this topic relevant to the boys
To,
or the boys
yeah.
family.
I think that's the perfect context, which brings us to the next slide. I think we have already covered the inequality and the judgment in the previous one, so I am skipping this. Since we were already on the hook of communication, how to get the conversation started, what can be done better, let's directly take it up from there.
Right, of course. So, like we already covered that in, many times, societal pressure is also something that destroys the safety, because women are supposed to adjust, right? So many times we're saying adjust kar lo, ho jao, be good in the new house. So again, that
Yeah,
is also a point that kind of makes women feel, how am I supposed to come across, how am I supposed to tell them, because I'm supposed to adjust to this new household. Nobody told me that I can put my needs forward, right?
yeah, yeah,
So that is also one thing that I wanted to add when I heard your previous points. So this is also something that is conditioned to women every
exactly,
day, right?
exactly.
Okay, so now if we talk about communication, communication is such a strong factor in relationships that, there is always a saying that communication is a key to stronger relationships, because communication can either enhance your relationships or completely destroy your relationships, right? So here also I've divided this into two parts, that what kind of communication builds emotional safety and what kind of communication destroys emotional safety. So I'm going to start with the communication that builds emotional safety. So when
Right.
we're talking about something that promotes emotional safety, first thing is listening. Not just listening to respond, but listening to understand. That is what we call it as active listening. Not listening to reply
Mhm.
towards your partner, but listening, okay, why is my partner going through this? How is my partner feeling? What I can make out of what my partner is telling me, right? So here we also talk about empathy a little bit. So many times we get very, very confused. I've seen people very confused with how am I supposed to be empathetic? Because sympathy and empathy, they sound very similar, but we don't know the difference. So empathy, in short, is basically getting into the other person's shoes, looking at things from their lens. So when we're talking about listening, so when your partner comes to you telling that, this is what I'm feeling, this is how I'm supposed to, do things, but I'm feeling like this. So not just giving them, okay, do it another way. Maybe you can do it another way. That is again, you're replying to her, right? Not
Yeah.
listening to understand to her, right? So many times we always come up with different activities in therapy, how to promote active listening in your relationships, right? Next is validation. So again, women want some kind of validation that they're being heard, that they're being
Yes.
listen,
That's the
they're
biggest need.
yes, exactly. So their grievances are being listened to, whatever they want to say, not just grievances, the happy things, the neutral things, the bad experiences, everything is being taken by their partner. So a little bit of validation of, yes, I can understand that this must be difficult for you, gives the women a lot of support, a lot of power to communicate better. Just a small validation, like I can understand how this feels, I want to know more about this. Just small tiny validations here and then can actually help your partner open up more, right? So consistency. Many times we see that many promises are being made, but they're not kept. Okay, I will listen to you more, I will be there for you more, but when your partner actually needs you, so something comes up and you're like, okay, I'll come back to it later, or maybe you're not responding to your partner like you promised. So when we're talking about consistency, we never say to make big promises to a partner that you're going to change the world for her. No, right? So we're just talking about, just if you're telling your partner that I want to understand you, so just make a little bit effort every time to understand your partner, right? That is what consistency is. Consistency
Absolutely.
is not big efforts or big gestures. It's just small everyday things that make up a relationship, and they make the relationship very, very strong. Okay, next that we always see in therapy is defensive replies. So non-defensive replies is if your partner says that I didn't feel that you were giving me attention. So instead of replying, I always give you attention. You're always coming up with all this. You should not say everything. So you get very defensive. So we see partners getting very, very defensive sometimes. And I am not like this. You're putting wrong blame on me or anything like that, which makes the women feel even more distant, that they just want to be heard, they just wanted to share how they were feeling, they were not trying to attack you. So this is where partners feel like they're attacking them, but the truth is that they're not. They just want to let you know how they're feeling. So instead of being defensive, you can just listen and absorb whatever your partner is saying, so that you can make her understand your side as well. Maybe she could have had a wrong idea, but to make her understand, you need to be very empathetic and be a good respondent to her needs, right?
Yeah.
This is what we see in therapy all the time, that one of the partners is being very defensive and the other one is trying to break that, and there is a distance through communication all the time, right? So using I statements, so we encourage partners to tell the other partner that I feel this, I want this, I am looking for this, so that your partner knows that exactly what you're looking for or exactly how you're feeling, instead of being vague that the relationship doesn't seem interesting anymore. It's a statement that could be very vague for your partner. Instead of that, maybe come up with I statements, that I want to have more in this relationship, I want this in the relationship. It makes it easy for the partners to communicate. Okay, and we never ever ever say that there are no fights in a relationship. Fights are not a bad thing. I always tell my clients that fighting, but the way you're fighting matters the most. If you're having disagreements, that's good, that is making your relationship stronger. If you're having fights, again, that is also making your relationship stronger. But the way we take it is very important. So that is where respectful conflict comes in, that we are not attacking each other, we are not against
Right.
each other in a conflict, right?
So, Stuti, since we are already time, it's 5.
Okay.
I would, I mean, unfortunately, have to wrap it up a little faster.
Okay, all right.
So, should we keep the difficult aspect of communication, what doesn't help, to a little shorter, and we
Yeah,
have
yeah,
some
of course.
slides so we can.
Of course. So, just keeping this side very, very shorter, sarcasm is one thing that obviously destroys your communication, right? So, being sarcastic never helps anybody, right?
Yes.
When we're talking about dismissing, you always do this. I don't want to listen to you. So, being dismissive of your partner's needs is also not
Or you
a
are overreacting.
yes, you're overreacting. I don't
Hmm.
want to listen if this all the time,
Yeah.
right? So, next to stonewalling means that you want to withdraw, that you're just listening, but you're not
Yeah.
saying anything.
Not responding.
Yes. So your partner doesn't know that are you hearing her or not? Are you actually listening or not? So stonewalling is another thing that destroys communication, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So if I talk about absolute language, that is when you use the
Huh.
terms never and always.
Absolutely. Yeah. This is a
Right?
destroyer, honestly.
Yes.
You
You have to
always
do
do it. You never hear things
correct.
like
You're
that.
you're never here for me. You're always making this an issue. So
Correct.
always and never are not something
That
good
is at
in
all helpful.
communication.
And we
Yes.
should be really mindful of, using such words. We mostly use it to get more heard. We think
Exactly.
if we use superlatives, we'll be heard better. But
Mhm.
that actually breaks the communication.
Yes, exactly. It gives out the message that you don't want to give out, that
Yeah.
your partners were not doing anything. It gives out that
Correct.
message,
Correct.
right?
So even if somebody is trying, they'll be demotivated and they'll not try anymore.
Absolutely. And invalidation is, of course, like we already discussed, that not giving reassurance to your partner, not giving that, validations that, you're listening to her or you're being there for her, right?
Hmm.
And the last, that misusing vulnerabilities, if your partner shares any kind of vulnerability towards you, like, I don't feel safe
Yeah.
sometimes,
Yeah.
you're using it in a very different context where your partner feels like you're attacking her with her
Yeah,
vulnerability.
or using that information in public in front of other family members. Maybe the partner is thinking it's family only, but it can not feel so safe beyond the inner
Right.
circle, which is just the couple, right? So we have to be very mindful of that.
Right. Yes. Okay. So
Okay.
last phase of this seminar, that what can the partners do to help their partners feel emotionally safe in relationships? One is, again, listen to understand and not just to reply back. Listen with empathy, right? The active listening that we already talked about. Second is acknowledging and honoring her feelings. So one is listening, but now you're supposed to reply by telling her that you know how she's going, whatever she's going through is difficult for her, right? You're acknowledging what is happening to her and you're acknowledging what she's trying to convey to you.
And even though one partner thinks that is not such a huge issue, instead of bringing that judgment that according to me it's not such a big deal, let's
Mhm.
just put ourselves in the other person's shoes, that if he or she is feeling it's big, then it must be big. So
Right,
let's
of
stay with
course.
that.
Yes. So, of course, so now we're talking about communication. So, using the healthy side that we discussed right now, that builds emotional safety, not the sarcastic side of communication,
Yeah.
right? Being emotionally present is, again, just be there for
Listen.
sometimes
Yeah,
for a partner. Women don't want logic sometimes, they just want to vent out sometimes. So,
absolutely. If
just
I say somebody is stupid, you say it with me.
yes, you say that person is stupid again.
Yes.
Repeat what she's saying so that she feels
Correct.
supported. Yes.
Correct.
So again, creating that safe space where she can tell you everything, anything and everything is accepted, right?
Hmm.
Not judging her, not criticizing her, and not disrespecting her, right?
Yes.
So patience rather than criticism.
Hmm.
So even if you don't agree with your partner, you don't have to always be like, "Oh my God, I agree with you." No, if
Yeah.
if you have a different view,
Hmm.
you should put it out, but with a little bit of
Respect for
gentle.
the other person's opinion.
Yes, exactly, in a gentle way, so that your partner also understands your side of things, right? Okay, so emotional validation before logic. This is the key for to dealing with your women in relationships. Don't just jump to logic. Understand what she's feeling before the logic part, right? So not only the partners, but some things women can also do for themselves to create that emotional safety. One is being aware of what you actually want in a
Need.
relationship. So only then you'll be able to communicate that to your partner. if you want more time from your partner. So getting to know why do you need that, what kind of time are we talking about, are we talking about dates, are we talking about any other thing that you're looking for? So developing that kind of emotional awareness is very important for women, right? Only then they can be able to communicate their feelings and expectations.
So if I know what I need, then I can talk about what I need and
Exactly.
use the I statements like you mentioned,
Right.
and take the risk of being vulnerable. If I am not taking a risk, I'll never be able to to put it out there and see. So sometimes facing the fear and
Exactly.
making it worth that if it matters to me, then I have to take the risk and I have to put it out there, even if I feel uncomfortable. So that's something women can do. Right.
Exactly.
So thank you so
Right.
much for bringing all of these points so simplistically, so beautifully to be able to understood. Debasmita, before we wrap up, this was the last slide. So after this, we have the vote of thanks and everything. So any last thought, any last statement, any advice that comes from a place of being in the business of where you connect people together?
Oh, I really feel that, okay, actually, I would want to also know first before I could say anything more, that when would you all suggest the couple counseling to be? Should it be before the marriage or after after you see a problem in the marriage?
Okay, so we always see people for premarital counseling as well, just to make them, sometimes when it comes to arranged marriages or even in love marriages, sometimes partners are not sure about each other. So premarital counseling is also something that psychologists like us we offer, is a chance to get to know your partner in the sessions. So if you're struggling with making a decision about the marriage, getting, or even if you want to get to know your partner better or want to make your relationship stronger, premarital counseling is something that can be introduced. And obviously post marriage, however the life turns out to be, anytime the couple wants to come in for counseling, they're always welcome.
So yes, so definitely, at least what I feel that this is one thing. This premarital counseling is definitely, I think, that's something I can suggest to the people who come to me, and if I feel that there is a lot of disparity between the couple, which would be difficult for the bride or the groom in few cases to bridge this gap, then this is definitely something that I would want to suggest them, so that I can also see that the relationships are working beautifully in the future, and not just that one person is compromising and just because adjust to karna hi hai. So that
Yes.
actually the women can come out of that mindset and also know the right way to do it, because also I have seen a lot of women who want to put across their emotional safety security first, but they don't know the right way. So the
Yeah.
way that they communicate it to their partners or in-laws, it actually creates more confusion and more resistance than accepting these things. So I think that is also very important for them to know that how to put it across correctly. And so yes, so this is something that I would definitely advise to my couples who are getting married. And thank you so much for having me. It was absolute beautiful insights into such an important thing that I can also share further. Thank you.
And I think hearing from somebody who is not from a technical background or healthcare background will make it less stigmatized and more acceptable for people. Because I mean, we all have a bad reputation in healthcare that at the end of the day, you're selling us your services. But it is more than that. We are talking about something which is relevant and not just about the services. So that's where stakeholders like you come in and help us bridge the gap. So thank you for sharing your insights and takeaways.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, with that, we have come to the end. I would request the speakers, if you have to drop off because of pre-engagements, feel free to do that. We will take up the Q&As and the feedback from the audience. Can I request Shreya to launch the feedback poll, please? Okay. So while you take some time to take this feedback question, if you think you are a quick one and you are already done responding, you can get started with the questions. Any questions, anyone? Any doubts, any takeaways, any one-liners you want to leave with us? I think because we have run out of time, we have lost a few participants, but we will be sharing the recording with all of you. We will be sharing the feedback link again with all of you. Please feel free to write back to us. People who are watching on YouTube, visit Positivity's website, and you can find Stuti, who practices as a couple counselor, on our website. Look at her calendar if you need more support. With that, also up on our screen, we have right now intimation and information about our next webinar. It is another engaging and a very relevant one, which is Mother's Healing Workshop. We know as women, we are playing multiple roles and switching between hats. Sometimes we are the boss ladies, sometimes we are the partners, sometimes we are mothers. And amongst all of these things, being a mother and doing the right kind of parenting can feel very overwhelming, and there's a lot of self-doubt every moment. So join this with our speaker, Miss Jessica, who is also a trained psychologist and a partner with Positivity, and she'll be bringing you amazing insights on that. So you can quickly scan this QR, register now itself before you forget. And we would love to connect with you again in the next webinar, like how we engaged today. So since we don't have any questions yet, Stuti, I'll let you go. But thank you so much for joining us, bringing in such amazing insights and information.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It was a very amazing session. I'm so happy that I got to share so much with a lot of people here today. Thank you so much for inviting me. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
As you go, all of you, I'll request you to follow Positivity on the socials as well. We keep posting a lot of information about what we are doing, what we are sharing, what's happening out there. So please follow us on Instagram, on YouTube, and on LinkedIn. So bye-bye, everyone. Have a good weekend ahead.